Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Those kinds of people always expect to get their way, and if you give it to them, they'll not learn anything. Don't let them get away with it, OP. We'll tell you more right after a short pause. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Neighbor's fence. My neighbors are building a fence. My wife and I noticed something was off with the fence on our side when it was first being built. We did some measurements and found the fence was 4 feet over our property line. We went over to speak with the neighbors, and this one neighbor became hostile as soon as I asked to speak about the property line/fence. She instantly said, "What's wrong with a few inches?" And I explained it was a few feet. She then put her hands up in the air and said, "It's always something with you." She then proceeded to slam the door in my face. Next thing I know, she has the sales agent in my backyard looking at the property pins and the owner of the fence company. Both the sales agent and fence owner stated my calculations were right. I stated I'd hired a survey professional to come out and inspect the property the next day. I had to leave for work, and when I came back, that side of the fence had been torn down and then rebuilt. There was an obvious difference, and I felt like things were good. The sales agent and fence owner said that my survey wasn't necessary, but I felt it was just for peace of mind. The next morning he comes out and we find that the neighbor's fence is 5 inches over in my property line. I haven't said anything to the neighbors at this point. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, I want nothing to do with them. I reviewed our HOA and it states that fences should be on property line. I'm torn. Do I make a fuss over 5 inches, or do I stick to my principles and say something so that the HOA is being followed correctly? Honestly, I feel awful for just being so hard-nosed in this situation. But I'm also upset with how I was spoken to. What would you do in this situation? And our second story. Choosing Beggars, House Hunters Edition. My wife and I used to live in a major city on the East Coast. We were both beach people, so once we got engaged, we decided that we would move to a coastal community for a few years before we started a family. My mother-in-law has a chronic illness, so we always knew she'd be moving up to live with us at some point, so this would be our fun transitional house until her move. We started squirting kids out. We ended up finding our dream house a few blocks from the beach with 360-degree ocean views and a pool to boot. We bought it, moved in, and then two things happened more quickly than we anticipated. We had a kid, no big deal, this was less than a year in, and the place was perfectly fit for a family. And then after 2 years, her mother's condition worsened to the point where she absolutely needed to join us. Sadly, we had to bid farewell to our beautiful beach house and buy another home a few towns over that had a full in-law suite. Fortunately, in the interest of time, we were in the position where we could purchase one without selling the other, and our friend was acting as our real estate agent and already had an interested, highly motivated couple lined up. It's a small community, and they'd been eyeing this home for a while. Bear in mind, it was move-in ready when we arrived, and we'd made a few improvements, new furnace, new fence during our stay, but we also hired our contractor buddy to come in and polish everything before anyone viewed it. All dings were buffed out, all nail holes were filled, all wall-to-wall carpeting was replaced. Additionally, we bought at the height of the market, which had since dipped, so we were prepared to take a little hit on it. Timing's everything, folks. The couple came by for 2 showings, loved it, and then promptly decided to move to Florida. Well, F. A few months pass, we've had a lot of showings, a good amount of interest, and we're now sitting on several standing offers, but nothing that's risen above 12% under asking. And it wasn't a matter of hardball negotiators. There were 2 people who loved the house, but were stretching as far as they possibly could to get those numbers. Next, we get a request for a showing from a family coming from a very wealthy town, good sign, on the other side of the state. Now, a quick aside, some of the frustration that'll mount here is because of implicit issues. When you show a house, there's a lot of work to be done. If you live in the house, you have to clean like crazy, disappear any animals you may have, and any dander in case your potential buyer's allergic, make sure the exterior is in tip-top shape, etc. In our case, I usually had to drive 45 minutes back and forth, mow the lawn, trim the shrubs, dust the house, and skim/vacuum the pool. All in all, probably a 3 or 4 hour long slog. Needs to be done, though. Anyhow, the family loved the house. So much that they schedule a showing for the following weekend, so same deal. Round-trip cleaning adventure for me, excellent marks from their real estate agent again, and then they schedule a third showing for the following weekend. Holy crap, folks, that's code for we're preparing an offer. Now, their showing's on a Sunday, so I spend the whole Saturday there getting everything in order. The lawn's mowed with precision, the pool is skimmed, vacuumed, and I dive in and polish the deck to a mother effing shine. And I dust like I've never dusted before. Actually, that could just mean that I dusted. I don't do that often. And at 11 p.m. Saturday, on the eve before the showing, I get an email from our realtor friend. The family are no longer interested in the house. Apparently, they did a search and there were 3 registered ex-prisoners living within 2 miles of the property. Since they have a young child, this is unacceptable, and the house is no longer under their consideration. Side note, this puts my wife and I in the unenviable position of trying to defend ex-prisoners. We did the search, and sure, there's 3 guys, but one of them assaulted a woman in the 80s and has been clean since, and he's in his late 70s anyway, so is he really a threat? The second guy looks like it was some kind of statutory thing, so he's harmless. And the third guy, well, okay, yeah, he's really crazy. You got us there. But realistically, I defy you to find a community that doesn't have criminals in its midst. We looked it up, and this town is actually below the state average. Shrug. So, big letdown. Also, would have been nice to have that Saturday back, but that's part of the hustle, I guess. A month passes, and we have a showing or 2, but nothing too promising. And then, out of nowhere, boom, the family's back. They want to see the house again, and they're motivated. I'm told that they want one more viewing, and then they'll be making an offer. Out the door goes another Saturday, drive, clean, mow, skim, vacuum, drive, wait. And wait. The showing goes down. The following day, my wife and I are literally waiting around the house with a chilled bottle of champagne ready for the call, which comes in around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Caller ID says it's our realtor friend. We answer. Hesitant pause. Never a good sign. So, I don't even know if I should give you this. I suspect this is not because it's really, really good. Go on. They made an offer for 35% under asking. They also asked me to send you this. My phone email dings. They've sent us a Word doc with a picture of their stupid grinning family in it, telling us how much they love the house and that unfortunately it's in such poor condition and there are so many upgrades they need to make to this again, move-in ready, fully repaired house to make it safe for their child that they can't go above this number. We're not exactly sure what they're planning to install to protect their child. Maybe a effing Terminator? Seems like a lot. Edit. My wife just reminded me that by our calculations, they undercut asking by slightly less than 6,000 baby gates. We exasperatedly decline, then go through a fun charade when their choosing real estate agent demands a counter from us, and we just keep countering with asking. Just give us a counter. Asking. No, a real counter. Real asking. That kind of thing. Because F that guy. He should know better. To give you an idea of how bad an offer this was, we could have held on to the place for 3 more years without renting it. I didn't mention it, but this town has an amazing rental market, and we would have lost significantly less money. Anyhow, everyone was so frustrated after that fiasco that our realtor reached out to one of the couples who made a standing offer. The realtors agreed to take a big cut in their percentage, the couple agreed to up their offer by a few percent, and we agreed to wiggle by a few percent, and a deal got done. A perfect deal, as they say, since nobody walked away entirely happy. And me, all these years later, sometimes at night when I'm near the ocean, lulled by the soft rhythm of the crashing waves, my mind wanders to that family, and I wonder where they are. And deep in my heart, I hope they're in a town that's absolutely infested with criminals. And our last story. Called the tow truck on people that repeatedly park where they aren't supposed to. I live in a really cramped development that has an access road between 2 rows of homes. The road runs behind one set of homes and in front of another set. I live in the back row of homes. There's a very large family that lives next door to me, and they have 5 or 6 cars. They used to park directly behind my driveway, so myself and my fiance couldn't even get out of the driveway. They used to park so nobody could use the road, and finally they parked in front of people's garages so they couldn't enter them. I went to their home and knocked on the door several times, asking them not to park directly behind us, or anyone for that matter. They didn't listen. I wrote an email to the owner of the home, she rents it out, telling her to ask her tenants to park appropriately. At one point, I even got in an altercation with one of them because we were trying to leave and they wouldn't move. It did get better for a while. They stopped parking behind us, and they also stopped parking all 6 of their cars on the access road. They had a party a few weeks ago and blocked the road. Again, I emailed the owner and left a note with them basically saying next time they'll be towed. For about 2 weeks now, they've been parking one of their cars and blocking 2 garages. Not entirely blocking, but enough so that the people that use those garages can't park in their garage, and it basically shuts the road down with a snowball effect. So this morning, they were parked there again, and I finally called the tow truck. I could hear and see them very frustrated this morning as they had somewhere to go, but I feel like I've warned them so many times that it's justified at this point. I'd prefer nobody got towed ever, but they don't seem to care about being neighborly. Let me know, folks. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.